All right, evening, guys. We're just waiting for others to come before we start. All right. Does anybody have any update relating to anything? Any questions? Because I'm not gonna start until I have at least 10 to 12 students in the class. Anybody in the class is in the group that is working with Leo Carmichael? Are you guys hearing me? Can you send me the link, Romario, for the viral video? You don't have to send it to me here. You can send it to me. Can you send it to, share it with me in the, on WhatsApp? You don't have to send, right. Okay. Trevor, I don't think you have ever said anything in my class. I see you in the class, but I've never heard you speak. Trevor Brown, are you there? Trevor Brown. Okay, all right, and there's no Trevor Brown there. I'm not sure where everybody is, but it's almost half an hour of the class. Please ensure that each person has his or her own feature story. You can use one of the examples from the previous class that you discovered, because now we're going to look at the elements of a feature story, and you have to use your own examples.
Sir?
Yes, sir.
I was asking in the chat if you could just briefly explain back the feature once more so that I can do it. I was a bit lost last week.
Did you watch the recording?
No, sir, I didn't get a chance to do so.
When we start, I'll try to do a review, okay?
All right, thanks, sir.
Still need a few more students before I begin. All right, guys, I'm forced to start because a lot of time has run off and I can't wait until 1 hour before I begin the class. I'm not sure what is happening with with the other students. So good evening. I'm still kind of experiencing some amount of flu-like symptoms. All right, so in the last class we looked at, and just to quickly go over some of what we covered in the last class, just quickly to run through it and then do this. Was it this one? Do you guys get the link when I put it in the link to the recordings? Do you get it in the WhatsApp group?
Sorry, can you repeat that, please?
Do you guys get access to the link when I post them in the WhatsApp group?
No, sir, I don't get any. I'm not seeing any.
Are you in the WhatsApp group?
Yes, sir, I should. I am in the WhatsApp group, sir.
And when I post the link, you don't see when I say, here's the link for last night's lecture, or here's the link for last week's lecture?
I am not.
Yeah.
No. Unless I am not
Yes,
in the
sir.
WhatsApp group.
Yeah, we do see it.
Posted. I see
We do see this link, sir.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm not sure what's happening. Ruth, are you in the WhatsApp group? Did you check to ensure that you're in the WhatsApp group?
About Dr. Amos. No, that is you. You mentioned about the artist. Who
Right,
will
so
be
if
doing
you're seeing all
something.
of that.
And then before that, there's a dancehall mag.
Right, so if you're seeing all of that,
is
then you
what
get the
I'm
link.
seeing.
No. All the links are in the group. I don't know what you are doing or not seeing, but all the links are in the WhatsApp group. In addition to, I said to you, subscribe to the channel so that when I upload the lecture, you will get a notification in your email. I also said that at the beginning of the course. So there are two ways of how you would know if the lectures are uploaded. Once you have subscribed, then you'll get a notification every time the lecture has been uploaded. Plus, I also post a link in the WhatsApp group, and you say that you're in the WhatsApp group. So I'm not sure what if you're paying particular attention, but you should be seeing the information because it is posted in the WhatsApp group. Because I actually can go on it and tell if persons are actually looking. So I go on your channel. This is a PR. This is PR. Let me just go back. So it tells me, for example, that no one has looked at this today because this was posted today. However, PR week 4 lecture 2, 1 view. So I'm able to, let me just go on videos. So these are all the lectures, PR and international business, because I teach 2 courses for the summer. And it actually can indicate to me the number of views. So 8 persons viewed this video, 2 persons view. So it means that you guys are not looking or watching the recording. I've also sent you guys emails. I'm not sure what is happening. Persons are saying that they're not getting information. I'm not sure how that is possible when I've been emailing plus uploading the recordings to the YouTube channel. I just found that a little bit strange. Why am I seeing these things down here? Oh, they're supposed to be there. So just quickly going back through the type of features. So we did say, for example, that a feature, okay, give me 1 sec. Or let me appear off camera because my sinus is draining. Right, this is what I'm looking for. Just give me 1 sec, guys. All right, give me 1 sec so that I can let me make this very simple.
Sir, good night. Sorry I'm late for class. What are we doing tonight?
Can you hold on, please?
Yes, sir.
Sorry about that, sir. My internet went a while ago.
That's okay.
What I was saying is that I am not seeing those ones that are sent. I'm not seeing the links. But what was the last date that you sent a link, sir?
Students, can you assist her? Because even yesterday, I
Oh,
think I posted.
I see one for last night. The YouTube link. PC link for last night lecture. Saw that one.
Yes, that's where. Did you subscribe to my YouTube channel?
No, sir.
Right. But if you're not, Christ, probably because I'm
Didn't
sick.
know that I was supposed to subscribe to your channel, sir.
That's I said it at the very beginning. This is why if you join the course late, you're supposed to watch the recordings. I said to you that it's easier to send you the recordings that way versus sending you a video, because many of you are going to consume it on your phone. So instead of having to download a physical video, you just go on YouTube and you watch the recording. I said that numerous times in the class, and I also every single time we have a class, I post a link in the WhatsApp group thereafter. Every single one of them.
Sir, you know what I'm gonna say? I have a YouTube, sir. I think like personal YouTube, you have to hear me jump up. Sir, you have YouTube?
I just use it. I use my work email to create it. And if you go there, all my lectures are there.
Yes,
That's
sir,
what
I
I
know.
use
You
it
send
for.
them to the email.
And exactly. So it's easier for you to just consume the information there. Oh yes, I don't get into this yet. We did that. Let's do. All right.
Send back the link so I could subscribe, sir, please.
Yes, I'll do that. Give me 1 sec. I'm just trying to put something in because somebody mentioned just a little revision. So I'm trying to change or introduce some new information for that person's sake. All right, so let me title it. Where did I put it? Yeah. So hard news versus soft news, or soft news, our feature story.
Mr. Clark,
Yes.
Tony Ann won't be able to make it to class this evening. She is having internet issues.
Okay. Thanks for the update. Why am I not seeing? All right, so all right, let me put in this last one. Yeah, the YouTube channel link now. Where is it? Would I go here? Your channel. All right. Sorry guys, I did tell you that I have the flu. Let me put the link as well in the chat, in the WhatsApp group rather. All right, so I've done that. I think I need to take tomorrow off work. All right, so just glancing over. So we talked about the fact that there's something called feature story, and or in news writing or in journalism, you have really there are two types of news. You have feature writing and or feature news and hard news. We talked about the different types in terms of human interest, the rags to riches story. We talked about the personality type where they're featuring somebody sometimes who's famous or not so famous. And I think it was Romari who found a very good example of Spice. That was a very, very good example of a personality feature. We looked at two examples, one on Drake and the other one on Diane Wees. The how to feature, there are some very, very good examples from the class. Can't remember everybody's name, but I think her name is Tenant or something like that. She gave us a very, 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 very good example of how to, in terms of, for example, how to prevent a heart attack or different things like that. So you have the how to feature. Then we looked at, this was just we looked at past events feature, and we looked at several examples relating to Jamaica. We looked at some of the examples. We looked at the best article one, and I think I actually shared one in the WhatsApp group where they're talking about like product reviews, just talking about whether or not you should watch a particular movie or thing like that. Let me just share an example of that one. I put it in the WhatsApp group as well. I'm so... which one was it? Yes, it was this one. So the best article feature, let me just share screen for that one. This one was Nope, First Reactions, Jordan Peele's epic third horror outing belongs on the biggest screen you can find. And of course, there's a kind of review of the movie, and usually the review is very descriptive, very, very descriptive. If you look at just even the title, Nope, First Reaction, Jordan Peele's epic third horror outing belongs on the biggest screen you can find. So there's some amount of exaggeration in the title and the way it is written. So this is an example, and you have a lot of them because you do have an entertainment section in many articles. articles in many newspapers or in many media houses, they have an entertainment desk. So this is an example of that type. The other one we spoke about, informational feature, that really gives us a lot of information looking at most times, sometimes controversial issues, but in a very, not in a hard news way, but giving us a lot of descriptions and quotations and statistics and so forth. And we look at several examples. The news feature, it is actually talking about something that is very current or very topical, but it looks again at it through a different lens in terms of giving us a lot of description and giving us the human side to it. And these are two examples. And then we went back to just a revision of the different types of features. Then now, I think the difficulty for many people is to make a distinction between hard news versus soft news. So think of soft news as features and hard news as just information. And I'm sure you remember I gave you that inverted pyramid when we were looking at the press release. So the press release would be an example of hard news, where you have the 5 W's to some extent in the lead, and of course the information is very straightforward. It doesn't have much description and so forth. So On Media provides 2 different types of news: hard news and feature news. Feature news is also called soft news. The following compares the 2 types of news. Hard news tells about a current event that affects the audience. Some examples: gas prices up again, rash of murders in a 2-mile radius, school bus driver gets a DUI. We can actually look at it in another way as well. If we go on the Gleaner, Jamaica Gleaner, you will see most times in the news section, they're really giving you hard news. When we go to the news section, so man accused of raping teen cousins denied bail. Even the very title suggests hard news. Usually the featured news or feature article has some sort of literary device being used or rhetorical device being used in the title. So if you look at this, this is very straightforward. A center and hotel worker who's accused of raping his 2 underage cousins was denied bail when he appeared in the St. Catherine Home Circuit Court. The girl's age, 24-year-old, is charged with 2 counts. So this is pretty much hard news. If we go back to the news section, even the very titles to some extent suggests that it's hard news. Anti-doping hearing for cricketer John Campbell adjourned to get expert witness. Again, this would be an example of hard news, very, very straightforward. The disciplinary hearing for the Jamaican and West Indies batsman John Campbell, who had reportedly declined to submit to a drug test, has been adjourned to August 2. And you're going to also be able to make a distinction between the two again when you look at how you actually start a feature news article. Somebody was about to say, sir?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead. Say that again?
So, you hearing me?
Yes.
Okay, so sorry to interrupt. So, just for clarity, so a hard news would be like, for example, the story about the female constable that's supposed to appear before Indicom. That would have been an example.
So that would be an example of hard news. However, you could take that story and make it into a soft news, but you'd have to add other things.
Okay.
So when I introduce you to the different elements of feature writing, you're going to know, once those things are not there, then of course it's hard news. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Right. So you can actually have a hard news. You can actually have a hard news story. And I probably give it to you as a class activity to give you something that is hard news, and then you're going to convert it into a feature story. All right. So as this says, in terms of hard news, gas prices up again, rash of murders in a tomb.
But you said, but you get a little bit confused. You said turning hard news into a feature story?
I am saying to you that you can turn hard news into a feature story.
Okay.
I'm not saying that that's what they do, but I'm saying you can do that. All right, let me give you an example. So this man accused of raping teen cousins denied bail. We agree that this is hard news, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Right.
sir.
Right. So this is a hard news. So how could I take this and turn this into a feature? I might start out with a description. All right. So it's about the raping of teen cousins denied bail, right? So 2 teen cousins. So I might start by saying, for example, Rosa, only 12, stared at the door in confusion. Her cousin, let's say Mary Jane, only 15, also stared in confusion. They looked across at this man in confusion, something like that. So as I said before, when I get into the actual feature story, so you notice how I've changed, even the way I've started it is different. So the hard news start, the lead for the hard news answers the 5 W's in a very matter-of-fact way. In a very matter-of-fact way versus the soft news. Do we understand?
Not really, sir. Say that again, sir. Say that again. I don't know why it's not lodging on my brain.
All right, hold on. Hold on. All right, so let's listen to a recording. It might help.
Work, but Monday.com just took care of all of the management, so we could.
Howdy, and welcome back to Right. Today we are talking with Dale Rice, Director of Journalism Studies here at Texas A&M, about the difference in hard news and featured news writing. What is feature writing and how is it different from hard news?
Well, in general, I'd say in journalism, you can basically say that true stories fall into 2 categories. They fall into the hard news category or they fall into the feature category. The hard news are those stories that are covering the events that are taking place out there. Feature stories are much more playing either off that or are fun, amusing, or life-revealing kinds of story. Good examples of feature kinds of writing: music, the arts, movies, food, entertainment of all kinds, fashion. These are all things that people have a great deal of interest in, but may not be the most pressing issues of the day. And so you turn around and look for ways to write stories about those things that are interesting, fun, engaging.
Okay, well when you write a feature story, don't you go about it in a much different way?
Of course.
Are we understanding? Because I know there's no, this is more audio, it's a podcast. Are we understanding? Still not understanding? Come on, guys, talk to me.
Sorry, no, I wasn't hearing what it was saying. I don't know if it was just me or the device I'm on. I'm using my phone.
Okay, all right. So let's look at the features. I think when we start looking at the actual feature store, I think it will become a bit clearer. Okay.
All right.
So as I said
sorry,
before,
let me see that before you move on. So it's basically how you word it.
no, they're structured differently. They are structured. So the feature is always much longer. That's one. As I said before, the hard news is very matter of fact. It doesn't use any kind of literary devices, any rhetorical devices like exaggeration and stuff like that. Just like, remember we talked about the press release and we said that the press release must be very matter of fact. So that's how we have to think about hard news. But as I said before, let's just, when I start going into the elements of feature writing, it should help you to, it should become a bit clearer. Where am I? So these articles are timely and concise. It just means that they're current. So every and anything that is happening now is considered current. So any shooting that happens downtown or any killing anywhere in Jamaica, most of it is reported as hard news. All right, especially when you go on, for example, Nationwide at 5, they report hard news, CVM hard news, TVJ hard news, the Gleaner. Sometimes they have different sections. So some parts of it would be hard news in the week, but on the weekends, most times they give a feature story to give people better context. Think about even the young lady, the YouTuber who is missing in Jamaica now. Most of what is being reported about her is just hard news in the sense that, you know, when she, her name, when she's missing, when she went missing, when she was last seen, who she's related to, who she had a relationship with, who the alleged boyfriend had a relationship with, and things like that. All of that is hard news. But if somebody goes now and does a much deeper investigation in terms of where is she from, how did she grow up, what were some of the things that she liked and disliked, they went and interviewed her parents, her cousins, and they're also including those quotes. There's a rich description of her last day. Then of course, no, it takes on a more featured nature versus hard news.
So sir,
yes.
Would you say a feature encapsulates a bio sketch of the person?
But remember, we talked about there are different, that could be one, but there are different types of features. Remember, we looked at all the different types last week. So I was just giving an example. The one I gave a while ago would be a personality example of a personality feature, which is different from a human interest feature, which is a kind of rags to riches story.
Oh.
So you have different types of feature, but I was just saying what you need to understand is that the feature has, they use, do you guys know about rhetorical devices like simile and metaphor and exaggeration?
Yes, sir.
Right, so those things you will find in feature stories. Most times those things are avoided fully in hard news. Our text features, these are just telling you about some of the things that you can include in your that should be included in your feature story. Titles and subtitles, headings, subheadings. Many times you need pictures or graphs, depending on the nature of what you're writing about. All right, and these are some of the ways of how you can structure the feature: cause and effect, problem and solution, comparison and contrast. And I'll have to teach you some of this, but we'll get there eventually. And these are the various ways now a writer includes details in an article or in a feature: anecdotes, vignettes, descriptions, snapshots, reasons, quotations. These are the different things that are included in a feature. And as again, I say, I'll teach you some of these things, all right? And they have definitions and so forth, but let's get into the elements. Which is this? All right, give me a sec, guys. All right. So this now, this is supposed to, based on how you start, even a feature will help you to make the distinction between hit and hard news, okay? Or should. And this is a lecture that I got that I find that is actually very helpful in terms of how it walks you through writing a feature story or the elements of feature writing. So feature writing tells the reader a story, right? So that's one of the first things between hard news and soft news. There's a kind of narrative that is involved in feature story, in feature writing. It has, generally it is organized the same way most essays are organized, beginning, middle, and end, or conclusion. And the beginning is called a lead. And of course, the same thing, a press release also has a lead. It uses quotes liberally, which means freely, and allows the reader to see the story through the detailed description and vivid writing. So one thing that is a distinction between a feature writing or feature piece and hard news is detailed description. So here is the structure, and I want for you to take a minute and look at the structure and kind of read it for yourself. So the lead, most interesting information, something that will grab the reader's attention and drag them into the story. The nut graph, a summary of what the story is going to be about, why the story is important. Then you have direct quote, connects to the nut graph, use more than one sentence. Direct quote should show the emotion of the story. Then you have transition. Next important fact, use transition words to help the story flow. They can be facts, indirect quotes, or partial quotes. Then you have direct quote, connects to the first transition. Do not repeat the transition in the quote. All right, direct quote should elaborate on the transition. Then you have the transition. Next important fact. So you see that it is actually differently organized. Even even how it is organized is very different than how you organize hard news. Are we so far? Are we understanding it just even a little better?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And we're going to get into, yes, and we're going to look at the actual parts of it. So now we're going to look at the lead. In other words, how do you start a feature writing? And there are different ways of how you can start. So the opening sentence must grab and hold the reader's attention by using specific, interesting, arousing words. The lead must catch the spirit of the story and create the proper tone. So the lead must be grabbing, or attention grabbing, plus reflect the tone of the entire article. In other words, the tone of a piece is how the feeling that is created by the writer. All right, any feeling that is created by the writer is considered the tone of the article. So they have given us some examples: serious, sarcastic, ironic, flippant, melancholy, and there are so many others. Leads can be and often are longer than one sentence. Your chance to grab the reader's attention should be specific to your story, should not be filled with cliches, should be in third person. Does anybody know which pronouns do we use to indicate third person?
Yes, sir. He, she, him, they.
Right. Exactly. Please remember that rule, that the lead you use, third person, must fit the mood or the tone of the story. So tone is a feeling evoked in the reader. Mood is a feeling evoked in, how we said it again? So tone is So tone is a feeling evoked that the writer evokes in the piece, and mood is how is a feeling evoked in the reader. How does the reader feel after reading the piece? All right. A few types of leads. Now we're getting into specificity now. So different types of leads. In other words, there are different ways of how you can start your feature. It could be a narrative where you kind of tell a story, and we're going to look at some example. It could be a description where they are describing a place, a person, or a thing. It could be a direct quote, usually used kind of reflecting a kind of narrative style, where kind of a direct quote that probably reflects the trauma of the situation or whatever it is. It could be a startling statement, something that is very surprising. It could be a contrast and compare. And as I said, then and now, in other words, you start out in a way that the way that you start the feature, we get a sense that you're kind of giving us some history, making a connection to what happened then versus what is happening now. And that, of course, could reflect, for example, a historical feature about Jamaica and about Jamaica's history and emancipation and independence. Or you could start with a twist. So let's look at some examples now. Narrative tells a story. So this is an example of a narrative, a lead that uses narrative as its let's call it rhetorical strategy in terms of writing. So Justin Greer's 2,800 friends have never seen him cry. His father has seen him cry only once, the day last October when doctors told the 16-year-old football player that what he thought was a bad case of flu was actually leukemia. He cried a bit then, Mr. Greer said, but then he squared off and said, well, I'm not dead yet, and I haven't seen any cry since, although he's told me that sometimes he cries at night when he's all alone. So we get that there's a story being told about a 16-year-old who has been diagnosed with leukemia. This could actually be converted into hard news. It could have just said hard news would be something like 16-year-old football player, what's his name? Justin Greer was diagnosed with leukemia on Saturday, something. This was discovered when he, through a hospital visit when he visited Kingston Public Hospital, something like that. And that would be hard news. But this now, when you get into a kind of description, a kind of narrative now, this is what makes it a feature. Are you guys kind of see the distinction between the two now?
Yes, sir.
All right, so let's look at another way of how you can start your feature. This is narrative. I think they give us another example of a narrative. On Senior Alicia's Briggs' 2-hour trip with her parents to church, she turned around and noticed that in the back of the Suburban, all her bags were packed. All of the sudden, I realized I wasn't going to church. I was on my way to the airport, she said. I started screaming, crying, and swearing at my dad, trying to figure out what was happening. That's when her dad told his 17-year-old daughter he had put her up for adoption. So we're getting, there's a kind of suspense that is used through this, and we get a description and her thought process when she was going to be given up for adoption. Another way of how you can start your feature in terms of how you can start your lead is to describe a person or a place or even a thing. It is 7:30 Thursday night, and the Presbyterian Church of Utica is deserted except for its well-lit cafeteria. Slowly they straggle in, single or in pairs. They are a friendly yet haggard group, bearing the signs of a long emotional struggle. They are the parents of problem teenagers. There are no straight A honor roll students here, no football captains or cheerleaders, only drug addicts, alcoholics, and runaways. Are they describing a person or are they describing a scene? Right, so they're describing persons, right? So this is another way of how you can start your lead. This is another description. I don't have the energy to read all of that. Describes a person, a scene, or a person. This is another example. Describes a scene or a person. That's another example. A diary quote now. So use sparingly, must be very powerful quote. In other words, if you're going to use a diary quote as your lead or as a part of your lead, it must be powerful. You can't just use it unsparingly. All right, there must be a punch to its usage. Don't be mad. I took some pills. Karen Keaton cried as she stooped over the toilet. A few hours later, the 4-year-old freshman died after a series of coronary arrests. And this probably will be a feature about drug addiction or teenage drug addiction or teenager struggle with drugs, or how drugs is affecting teenage health you know, we get a sense that probably the article, that's the direction of this feature. The other one, again, this is a direct quote. I don't have the energy. I'm not going to read all of it. Startling statement creates drama. She never knew she had it. Or Junior Josh Duckworth has a fetish. Startling statement, narrative / description. Zachary Zargowski hates pronouns. He hates the she that sometimes slips out when he's playing Quidditch with his friends, and the it he's been labeled by the ones who don't understand. He hates the prolonged stares as people try to figure out what is going on beneath his quote unquote Nightmare Before Christmas hoodie and plaid vertical striped shirts, the ones the stylist said would help. All right, so there's a kind of mixture of startling narrative description in this particular lead. All right, startling statement. Another way of beginning your lead, or another way of writing your lead, creates drama. Melissa hates school. It's not that she's dumb. It isn't that she doesn't fit in socially. In fact, it isn't that anything is particularly wrong. It's more a matter of nothing being particularly right. All right, so this is another example. This is one with a twist, sets reader up for one mood, then twists it, surprises the reader. And I just read this example. A group of candy strippers stand around the nursery holding incubator babies. It's loving time. Another young girl steps in with her mother and picks up a baby too. She's not in a uniform, but in a hospital gown, for the baby she holds is her own, and it's her loving time. It's also time to say goodbye. I sat in that rocker and held him and rocked him, and I cried and I cried and cried. Amber, a senior, said, I wanted that moment to last forever so I could always hold him and always be there for him. But I knew I couldn't. That's what hurt. Probably somebody dying, or, you know, whatever it is. Another example of a twist, I'm not going to read all of them. Another example of a twist. I just really wanted to, and there are other ones. These are some other ones. So writing devices for leads, repetition, short, punchy sentences, fragments. They are just giving you the different devices that we're using, the different leads. Using dialogue, mixing sentence length to set a rhythm, breaking the rules, starting with the word and. And when they say breaking the rules, it means that usually you don't start with the word and. All right. Now they're giving you, so they said the lead should open with specific, then go to general. And they're going to give you some examples. So this probably would be considered hard news. It's not as descriptive and as vivid as it should be. With America engaged in a war in Iraq, many students know US military men who have lost their lives. Leaguertown lost one of its own last month when Nicholas Barrera was killed in Iraq. It's a feature, but it's not as richly written as it should be. And they're giving a better example. When Brianna Barrera didn't hear from her son, Nicholas, for a week, she knew something was wrong. Maybe it was mother's intuition, but she knew. And when she saw two officers walking toward her door, her worst fear was confirmed. The officer said they were sorry to deliver the news, but Nicholas died with honor, she said. Dying with honor? How does that help? My heart was breaking. My boy was gone. So notice the way how this now becomes a bit more detailed, enriched with quotations and description or descriptive words such as adjectives and even adverbs. Lead writing pitfalls, news or editorial leads you need to avoid. So avoid first and second person, stating the obvious. So you should not start by stating the obvious, using cliches, or starting it by saying, imagine this. And I think they have another example where they say no news or editorial leads, avoid first and second person. So freshman Sarah Clark made the cheerleader squad for the 2007-2008 school year. Sounds very hard news. Sounds like hard news. Congratulations to Sarah Clark for making the cheerleading squad. We are proud of her. Not really, not much. All right, don't state the obvious. Every day, millions of people wake up, go to work or go to school, but some days they don't. All right, no cliches. Take one for the team. Life is short and the winner is. Do not imagine this. So what they've done here is to show you a contrast. Imagine what it would be like to sit through a hurricane, and they give you a better way of how to start. Imagine what it would be like to be on a boat that is sinking in the middle of the ocean. All right, this is far more descriptive. All right, and again, now they're giving you something. Senior, whatever, plan to spend spring break on a relaxing fishing trip. Instead, he spent most of the week praying to stay alive. All right, so that's the lead. What I will do for you is to send the lecture, because I don't remember if I've sent this lecture to you guys, but let me email it to you now, because the activity that I wanted to do, I'm going to make you do it in parts, because I think it's going to be too heavy to just go through all the elements. I'm going to do it in parts. Are any questions so far?
No, sir.
Okay, give me one sec. Let me get all the emails. Last email list. Or tell me if you're seeing it in your. Are you seeing it in your email?
Not
Yes,
yet,
sir.
sir.
I heard,
Okay.
I think I heard a no.
Yes, sir, I'm seeing it.
Not seeing it as yet, sir.
All right, and I posted it in the WhatsApp group as well. All right, what I want for you to do for me is, as I said, I'm going to do it in parts, because I think in order to not make it as complicated as it seemingly is, I'm going to put you randomly in a breakout room, and I want for you to let's not do that. All right, can somebody share, can you share your the links in the WhatsApp group for me, or in the chat, to this some of the feature stories that you identified in the last class? We probably can do this part together.
Sir, say that again. Send the feature story in WhatsApp group.
The links to the feature
Sir,
story
in the
that you
WhatsApp
identified,
group are here.
both places would be good.
The feature story that we did from last class.
Yes, the links to them.
Oh, I was bad. I didn't know.
Sir, I had shared them on Tuesday. I'm not sure if you're seeing them. Would you like for me to refresh them in the group?
You're in the WhatsApp group?
Yes, sir. I sent it from Tuesday. I was having issues.
All right.
And I wasn't able to share.
All right, so let me look. And that was one. No, like that example. All right, what I'd want you to do for me is to identify which type of lead is used in the feature story. So go through the lecture that I just shared with you and tell me which type of lead is used. We looked at a range of examples in terms of leads. Okay, Jono. So let's put some of these in the Tajira, why are you sharing your ID number with everybody?
Sir, it's a mistake.
Yeah, you shouldn't unnecessarily share your ID number with students, okay? It's actually not a
Sorry,
good idea.
sir.
That's I'm just telling you to protect yourself. Don't necessarily have everybody.
No, somebody asked me for it.
You
And
can
the
send it to them directly. You don't have to share it
sir,
with
I
everybody.
didn't realize it didn't come off everyone.
All right, so I'm sharing some links in and I want you to just choose anyone and identify the type of lead. Where is it? All right, anybody else finished looking at? Let me put you in the breakout room. You're going to choose one and identify the lead, okay? Because I think you need some time to kind of discuss. So 10 minutes in the breakout room. All right, so choose anyone and you're going to identify the type of lead. Giving you not even 10 minutes, 5 minutes, because it shouldn't take that long. All right, so we're slowly coming out of the breakout room. All right, so let's hear it. Room 1, Shante, Kimberly, Kumiko, Tajiro, can you share your article and just tell us, share screen and tell us which type of lead you believe was used?
Sir, I'm on my phone and my screen crack. I cannot share, but it's the same article about
Can
myself.
somebody else in the group? Hello, Tajira, you're not the only one in the rooms. Can somebody else in the room share screen while you talk?
Oh, can you guys share screen?
Or just share the link in the WhatsApp group or in the chat and I'll share it.
Sir,
Where's the link?
I'm looking for it now, sir. This one. Oh, you replied to something. This one. Sir, I just text in the WhatsApp group.
All right, hold on. Yeah, but are you going to allow me to share screen or you're going to share screen?
Sir, you can share the screen, sir.
Yeah, but if
What?
you're sharing your screen, I can't share the screen.
Sir,
No, but it's
sir,
there. It's
I'm
there.
sharing my screen?
Yes, you are.
No, me?
Yeah, so it can stay right there. You stop sharing your screen now. We're not seeing the article. We need to see the lead though. You can't show us the title and the picture. So what type of lead is that?
Sir, as a group, we decided that this lead would have been narrative, sir, because it's telling a story or getting into telling a story about somebody.
Yes, I fully agree. That's correct.
Good
All right.
stuff.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Tajiro and Kimberly. All right,
You're
room two, Cassandra and Ruth. Go ahead for me.
That was the one actually that we have also chosen.
Was that the one you did from the class before?
I'm sorry?
So did you come to?
We were to pick up from what we did last week. Okay.
Yeah, but I also shared some examples in the WhatsApp group as well. Not in the WhatsApp group, in the chat, and I said that you can choose from them as well.
Okay, I just went a while ago. I just went in and just chose one of the stories. I would just pick the lead from there. That's what we
All
did.
right. Okay, so did you come to the same conclusion? That the lead was narrative in nature?
Well, that's basically the conclusion, because what it does is giving you a story on how they met up, and it's giving you a history.
Is it giving you a story or is it giving you a history? The two things are not the same.
It's narrative, sir. It's giving you a story.
Okay. All right, thanks, room two. Room three, alternate Romario, Venice.
Yes, sir. Romario, will you share?
Hi there, give me two sharing. Seen screen?
Yeah, but we can't look at the title though. We need to see the actual the lead. Right, you have to scroll down to the lead.
Okay, sir. So we've noted that this lead was a direct quote. You know, the saying from poverty to owning. Well, from poverty to owning houses. This is what spice.
Okay, yeah, that's correct.
Right.
All right, thanks. Room three, room four, Latona, Don, Shanice, and Trevor. Go ahead.
Okay, sir. Shanice, can you share screen, please? Sir, we use the same example, the same story with Spice. And we agreed that it was a direct quote. The lead was a direct quote, as you can see, it is in quotation, from poverty to owning houses. The Queen of Dancehall Spice has more shared of her rags to riches story.
All right.
So it was a direct quote.
Okay, good. So what I will do, stop sharing screen for me. Let's do something on the other side. I'm going to give you a hard news, and you're going to convert it into I want you to write the lead for me. Okay? I'm going to put it back in the breakout room. Just hold on. Let me find it. Let me see if this is one or this is hard news. This is a feature. Wow, this is actually a feature. Okay, let's find Lena Moore gives you features. Gives you hard news than that. So it's latest news. What's wrong with the internet? Here. All right, here it is. Okay. So I'm going to put it in the WhatsApp group and the chat, and you're going to convert you're going to use the hard news and write the lead. Just the lead, all right? I've reopened the breakout rooms, so go back in for me. I'm giving you 10 minutes to write your lead. Let me see if I can balance some of the numbers. Like, Tajir and Kimberly, you're not in room 1.
Sir, I left on accident. Sir?
All right, so we're coming out the breakout room. Room 1, are you quickly able to share? Shanti and Tajiro?
Yes, sir.
Did you guys manage to write your lead?
So I have a couple ideas, but some of them went to line and it was hard, you know.
Okay, so what we'll do, we can, any room manage to finish their lead and want to share, because we're up on the hour. All right, so we'll continue on continue next week. We'll wrap up this type feature writing next week. No, today's when Thursday, yeah. Next week. All right, next week will be our last week on feature writing, and then we move on to crisis communication and crisis management.
Sir,
all right, yes.
The 20 is the 29th is the mid semester.
It's it's week 6.
Yes, sir. Which date is that?
Remember, we're not doing it.
No, we're not doing a mid semester. We're doing a press release, but I still want like.
I'm going to send it in an email. Okay.
Good stuff, sir. Good stuff.
Okay. All right. All right. Night, everybody. I don't want to keep you from going to your other class. Okay.
Night, sir.
Night, sir.
Yeah. Bye.